As great as it is that we're providing this metadata to our profiler, it would still be more useful if we had some insight into what action the user took that triggered a render. And this is what interaction tracing is all about. This is an unstable API, so it may change, but it is pretty cool. So we are recording all of the profiling data for all of the updates that happen when I click that button, but it actually would be cooler if the data that I get in my profile information includes the fact that clicking this button is the reason this happened. So we want to label all of the updates that happened as a result of that interaction, especially since this is going to trigger several state updates over time. We'd like to be able to do that for the asynchronous updates that happen as well. To do this, we're going to go to our status buttons, and right here I'm going to import unstable trace from scheduler/tracing. The scheduler is a package that React uses to manage a lot of the stuff that it does. And I'll go ahead and alias this to trace so I don't have to have unstable all over my codebase. Probably not a great idea, but I like doing it that way. So that's what we're going to do. So then to use this trace function, I'm going to wrap the interaction that I'm interested in inside a function, and I'll pass that function to trace. But that's actually the third argument. The first argument is the label for this interaction. So we're going to call this click, and then we'll pass the label for this button. So this is going to be click unread, or click mark as read, or click delete, whatever it is. And then the second argument here is when this interaction started. And this is going to be performance.now. And then we have our callback function, which I'll put on multiple lines here. So with that now, I can come over here, we'll pull up our profile information right here. And when I click this, then we'll get our profile. We have a whole bunch of updates that happen here. And let's see if we can find the one that has our information on it. So actually, I just looked at all of these and none of them has the interaction information on it that it should. So it should be part of this interactions object here. But that's actually the problem. The interactions is a JavaScript set, not a JavaScript array. So we're going to go to our profiler and we'll take these interactions and we're going to make a copy of them and convert it from a set to an array. So we'll say ... interactions. Then we can come back here. We'll clear all this out. And there's the profile for our initial render of the page. Now I'll click this. We get our profile. And one of these should have, there it is. Yep, there's our interaction right there. We see that it has an ID of 0. This is the first interaction. It has a name, click on mark as read, and it has a timestamp indicating the time that it started. So this gives us a lot more information about the specific update that happened for our component, so we can make a little bit more sense of these numbers. We can say that the user clicked unmark as read on the book screen, and these are the timings that came out of that interaction. So if we see a spike in the timings here, we know exactly the interaction that the user took to try and reproduce that and get it fixed. So in review, what we did here is we recognized that interactions is actually a set, and so we converted it to an array so we could send it to our backend. And then we also updated the status buttons to import unstable trace as trace from scheduler tracing. And then we took the line of code that triggers the state update and we wrapped it in a trace call, giving it a label and a timestamp.